beautiful people of the internet. How are you guys doing today? Hopefully great. Welcome to Budget Builds, where we use zero format and achieve maximum efficiency. In today's video, we're taking a closer look at Loki, aka the Trickster. But before I continue with the video, please Spartan click the subscribe button for more Warframe videos, and let's do this. So before I give you guys Loki's build, let's first go over his ability. So starting off with his passive, Loki is able to hang on walls 10 times longer than normal. Moving on to his first ability, we have Decoy. Loki deploys a holographic copy of himself, drawing enemy fire. So in other words, Loki puts on a clone of himself, which draws away enemy fire from you. Moving on to his number 2 ability, Invisible. Loki camouflages himself, becoming invisible to enemies. This ability is self-explanatory, but it's also worth noting that if you guys are invisible and you use a loud weapon, what's going to happen is the enemies will then go or fire in the last heard direction of that noise, so keep that in mind. Next, we have Switch Teleport. Loki instantaneously swaps positions with a target, confusing the enemy. Now, this ability works really well with Loki's number 1. Basically, what happens is when your clone is deployed, what happens is Loki is able to switch positions with them. Of course, this is very good when it comes to spy missions, because the spy missions have these laser barriers, and some of these laser barriers are really hard to get by. So the Loki's number 1 and number 3 work really well when it comes to bypassing lasers, so keep that in mind. And finally, we have Radial Disarm. Let's forth a wave of energy, disrupting the projectile weapons of enemies in range and forcing them to revert to melee combat. So what happens is Loki releases out this wave, and what happens is the enemies are forced to pull out their melee weapons. So in other words, they can't shoot you, but they can still attack you. So here's the build for Loki. As you guys can see, there is zero Forma invested onto this build. With that being said, let's start off with our first mod, that being Sprint Boost, plus 15% sprint speed. Now, when you guys are using Loki for the first time, what's going to happen is you'll notice that there'll be a dash polarity on your aura slot. What this means is that you have a choice between corrosive projection, shield reduction, or any other aura mod that has a dash polarity. Now, me personally, I want to use sprint speed because Loki's default value when it comes to sprint is the highest in the entire game, and I want to get my missions done as fast as possible. On top of that, I've also added rush, which gives me 30% additional sprint speed, giving us a grand total of 45% sprint speed. Next, we have ourselves narrow-minded, augur message, constitution, and primed continuity, giving us duration. The more duration we have, the longer Loki can stay invisible. Now, Loki is very squishy, so he'll get taken down quickly, so you must stay invisible for as long as possible. Next, we have ourselves overextended and stretch for more range. The more range we have, the longer the Loki's disarming ability takes place, or the bigger the area of effect is, because when you disarm the enemies, what happens is the enemies can no longer shoot you, instead they'll try and melee you. Doing so will allow you to escape any sticky situation and get yourself out of danger. So you will have both invisibility and you guys will have crowd control. Now, I have Vitality for more health. Now listen, if you guys do not want to use Vitality, another good option is to use Loki's augment called Irradiating Disarm. I'll throw it up on the screen for you guys now. Feel free to pause the video and re-up on it. So basically what happens is when the enemies get affected by Loki's number 4, what happens is they will be irradiated. That means they'll start attacking each other, causing a lot more crowd control. And of course we have Streamline for more efficiency. That way we can use less energy. Now in terms of prime continuity, if you guys do not have prime continuity, a regular continuity will work just as well. So keep that in mind. Now in the arcanes department, listen, arcanes, they're not important, you don't really need them, but if you guys have arcanes, here's what I suggest you guys put on. Arcane Energize, that way we have more energy, and Guardian, that way we have more armor, because Loki is very squishy without any armor. Guardian gives you a base of 600 or whatever your rank of your arcane is. Next, let's go move on to the demonstration of Loki. So with Loki, there's not really much I can show you guys in terms of demonstrations. Only thing really he has is invisibility, crowd control, and a bit of a teleportation technique, which is really useful when it comes to spy missions, when you guys want to go through all these laser barriers. So anyways, let me show you. So first, invisibility. As you guys can see at the bottom right, it lasts about 35 seconds, which is plenty of time. You guys want your clone, so what you need to do is aim, push number 1. As you guys can see, the clone has spawned. The clone will then take away the attention from enemies, that way I can stay safe. If you guys really want to swap positions with them, look at the clone like so, push number 3, and as you guys can see, we have just swapped places. Now, in terms of this technique, only thing you have to do is to ensure that you guys have power and are within range. Now, if you want to see the exact range when it comes to this build, just make sure to push escape and take a look at the abilities section. I'll tell you exactly all the stats. Now, when it comes to crowd control, let me tell you the crowd control range is actually pretty good. Let me show you. And as you guys can see, every single one of them has dropped their weapons. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for today's video. If you guys liked the video or if it's helped you, leave a like. Spot and click the subscribe button for more Warframe videos. I'm gonna make like a banana and split.